Hey there, and welcome to Get Messy. I'm your host, Maddie, and today I get to chat with fellow voiceover artist Tracy Lindley. Tracy has been a full-time voice actor since 2014 and is also the mom manager of 4 kids who also do voiceover. She's located in the Kansas City area, and through hustle and smart strategy, Tracy started earning a 6-figure income by the end of year 5 for her voiceover business, even while raising toddlers and preschoolers, which, my God, I would say I don't even know how she managed to do that, but after meeting Tracy, you'll see her energy is 10 out of 10. She's represented by DPN, which is my agent as well. She specializes in commercials, corporate narration, and e-learning. She's the director of education for NAVA, the National Association of Voiceovers, and she's got an amazing course focusing on LinkedIn marketing that's specifically designed for voiceover artists. Tracy did not hold back in this conversation, sharing the unique way she got into voiceover, how she transitioned from regional work to securing a top-tier national agency, the impacts of COVID on the VO industry, how impactful direct marketing could be for your voiceover career, handling the landscape of AI, embracing imperfection, and what it's like balancing a busy family life with her booming business. I really appreciated how candid and authentic Tracy was when discussing her decision to go FICOR and change her union status, which, if you don't know what that is, we dive into it in this episode. We also talk about the ebbs and flows of union and non-union work. She shares some of her tips for direct marketing and the importance of flexibility in achieving success. Without further ado, welcome the amazing Tracy Lindley. Tracy, I'm so happy we're finally doing this. And I gave you an intro right before we popped on. But for people who don't know who you are, can you give a quick spark notes of who you are, what you do, any important snippets of your story you want to kick us off with?
Well, I started doing this in 2014 full time. I was a stay-at-home mom before that. Before that, I was a claims adjuster for an insurance company. And my path is very roundabout. No two VO stories are the same. As far as voice artists are just a very eclectic bunch. Some people come from a radio background. I don't come from any type of voiceover related background, but I have 4 awesome kids and they've grown up as the business has grown. They actually do voiceover too. So that's part of our messy life is being the momager for all of that. My husband and I have been married almost 21 years. I can't imagine life without him. I don't know. We love to travel when we can. We're just, like normal people.
Yeah, normal people with this awesome voiceover business. I'm so curious, Tracy, especially when you started back in 2014. And I'm just so curious about your experience. My experience, I would have probably never gotten into voiceover if I wasn't already in the entertainment industry, acting and writing. It was like another piece of the pie that I got introduced to. How did you get introduced to it not having a background in the entertainment industry?
That's a good question. And it is pretty miraculous that I got here as well. Here in the Missouri, Kansas City area, people don't really know. You say voiceover and they have no idea. They think it means like a radio DJ or something.
Totally.
They don't know what to make of it. So I have to explain what I do. Yeah, I actually have a home studio and I do voiceover for all different kinds of projects, commercials, IVR, e-learning, corporate narration, promos, all kinds of things. But I started out, I'm a communication major. What did you major in?
I majored in business.
Oh, good plan.
My mom, I was going to do psychology, and she's like, "Are you going to become a therapist?" And I was like, "I don't know." And she's like, "Do business." And I was like, "Okay."
Wise words from your mother. I just took like one business class as part of my emphasis in PR. And so I decided kind of towards my junior year, I think, I was like, I better get some internships and figure out what I'm going to even do with this degree once I get it. And so one of those internships was at a cable company. And I was thinking for a hot minute that I wanted to be an ad exec and sell on air ads. And it looked like really good money, which I think it is. It's just you really have to hustle and there's a lot of you really have to love sales. And I quickly realized I don't love sales. So while I was there, one of the producers at the cable network, he was like, "Hey," he hands me this piece of paper. "You've got a nice voice. Will you read this?" And I was like, "Okay." So I get in there and it's no more than a padded closet. And it had a microphone and immediately I was like, "Oh, I'm stepping up behind this microphone. This is really cool." So I did it and I just gave them 3 takes and they were happy with it. I'd never done it before in my life.
Wow.
I had the natural timing. I've always been good at reading out loud because I have read out loud to children my whole life from babysitting. I volunteered at the library. I read to my younger brother, whether he wanted me to or not. So I'm very comfortable reading out loud. Now get me on a stage and forget it. Terrible stage fright. And I cannot sing in front of people too. I'm very embarrassed. But there is nothing anyone could say to me in any session that would break my confidence. So it's weird how your brain will do that. But
Absolutely.
yeah, and then time went by and occasionally he would call me and say, "Hey, would you do this?" And I would go in. But pretty soon after baby number 3, I'm toting this little kid in here trying to entertain the others with coloring books and crayons, and I'm like, I can't really do this anymore for $20 because that's what they were paying me. But then he told me, "Okay, well that's fine. I understand that. Did you know this is called voiceover and now you can actually do this from home?" So that was all it took for me. That was January of 2014. I threw my hat in the ring and I said, I'm going to be a voiceover person, talent. We go by many
Yeah,
names.
we do. Everyone always asks, like, what? I'm like, I don't know, artist, actor, like voice person, whatever.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
answer to all of that. But I started doing major research, watching, listening, reading, doing everything possible to learn as much as I could. And this was right before I found out I was pregnant with baby number 4. So a great time to start a business.
Absolutely. Not like you have your hands full at all.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the long story of how I even
Wow.
got here.
Thank you for sharing that, Tracy. And I'm so impressed by you because my voiceover journey was so different. And I think one of the biggest, and we're going to talk kind of about the changes that the industry's had over the last 10 years, 11 years since you started, 10 for me. We both had the same agency in Los Angeles. And so back in the day, when I started with them in 2015, we would go into audition. They had like 3 studios. You'd go into audition, and it was great because you're sitting chatting to all your friends. Oh, you look at the script, great. The booth directors were awesome. They're directing you. They're picking the takes from you. You like truly just get to be an actor and don't have to worry about any of the tech, all the different hats that we wear now. So when COVID happened and we started shifting where it was like, no, you need an at-home studio for auditioning and work. That was like, that blew my mind. I was like, if I have my microphone for like little side auditions, but I'm like, what do you mean we're all going to be doing this from home? Where that was your experience and your introduction was like kind of really from home professionally.
Exactly. From the very beginning, I don't have a studio in my city. The closest one was going to be about an hour away because I don't actually live in Kansas City. I live north of Kansas City. And so, yeah, from the very beginning, I had to learn the home studio, how to record, how to edit, what's too loud, what's too quiet, and how to get out breaths and mouth noises and what format do you want it, WAV, MP3, or other? Yeah,
Yeah.
all of it. Yes.
Right from the get-go. I'm just so impressed because I think I'd been doing it for a long time. And then when COVID hit, I was like, this is like a whole different universe compared to what I've been doing thus far. And that was like your introduction was like, okay, I have to learn the craft and like that side of it and technique. And then also how to sustainably do all the tech stuff and like what that looks like.
Well, I think it's amazing that you were able to pivot. I mean, some people just flailed and they didn't know what to do.
In 2020, I definitely flailed because I was like, okay, great. Whenever it goes back to normal. And then Vince is like, one of our agents, Vince, he was like,
It's not going back.
it's not going back because they're saving so much money on studio fees. Like, this is new. And then I was like, oh, shit. It's like, I
Yeah.
really got to figure this out because otherwise, like, you wouldn't be able to endure what this career path requires. And what I love, there's so much that when I was looking at your website, Tracy, and Instagram and getting acquainted with you before I even reached out to you, being in Kansas City here, I love how passionate you are. And it makes sense if you have a PR background or communications background about self-promotion, self-marketing. And specifically, I would call you like the LinkedIn queen. Like you've totally like cornered LinkedIn and you've done such a great job helping support other VO artists to understand direct marketing. You have a course, you go around and teach at many different conferences so that people aren't leaving the success of their career in the hands of their agents. They're actually able to be productive on their own to generate business. So how impactful has direct marketing been in your career and how necessary do you feel like it is for VO artists of every level?
Well, we've kind of talked about the evolution of voiceover, and there was a time where you really could just give your career to your agent or your manager and let them drive the ship for you. But I just think those days are really over because there are too many opportunities online that you can actually find yourself and find your own clients and be quite successful. So I would say direct marketing, I think, is important for everyone. Maybe someone already has an established career, but I don't know. I just think it's too easy to be replaced and lose a major client. And then where will you be? So I believe in having a strong pipeline of clients always coming. And that's multifaceted. I mean, that's not just LinkedIn, it's not just Instagram. You also have to be cognizant of what's happening on your website, making sure your SEO is strong and, you're checking in with your website developers to see if there's anything else you can do. We need to add more pages, have more keywords, etc.
For sure.
And keep emailing, keep prospecting, keep making relationships on LinkedIn and then following up. I mean, it's a whole thing. It can be overwhelming. And so what I try to do is just break it down into something that people look at and think, I could do that. That could fit into my life. And so I just break it down into 3 pretty basic steps, and that's how I approach LinkedIn, and I think it's been embraced because people all want to have more control over their income, their future. We went through a very uncertain time in 2020 where a lot of people lost jobs. People lost clients who might have been freelancing. A lot of bad things happened. I have to say for myself, I think I got more business or about the same amount of business in 2020. Nothing changed for me because I continued to provide the digital service that I give. Although things changed in creative agencies, it got eerily quiet in March of 2020 for probably a good 4 weeks, I want to say, while people scrambled to figure out what their future was going to look like or what they were going to do. Because we can't advertise for cruises anymore. We can't advertise for hotels anymore. Just all of that was gone. It was very strange. Having that element of control makes people feel more confident. And so that's what I'm here to provide.
Well, and it's like there's so much out of our control in this industry. If you can have something that you're like, okay, I know what to do. I feel confident in how I'm doing it. And like the rest is give it up to God, right? It's like you'll see what happens, but it's like at least there's something you're able to do outside of like, I got an audition for my agent. Great, let's do the best I can and like hope you book it. So I think it's phenomenal that you're providing that for any VO artist that's interested in it. And like you and I know, yeah, like if you would have asked me in 2019 for me living in LA, being with DPN, who's such a great agency, I've been like, I'm chilling. Like I don't need any of it. And then, yeah, COVID happened and 2022 is the first year I didn't make my SAG health insurance. And like for SAG, it's not even like you have to make a tremendous amount of money to be qualified. It's not a livable wage if you're even just making that. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And so the wheels have turned considerably since then. But even now, when I do have a really awesome campaign, I'm like, this is great for right now. But like you said, people can be replaced. Things majorly shift in advertising that totally shift how we're working then. So it's so nice to have more control, not be like, hopefully an audition comes in and then hopefully I book it. All this hoping when, too, it's a lot of work to do all of it. If you're already spending so much time doing it, why not do something else to help yourself?
Right. And if you're banking on booking that audition, it just makes you desperate. And then you're overanalyzing, you're overperforming, oh, I didn't like that take. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do another one. And pretty soon you're just in this trap of just negative self talk. And none of that has to be, because if you provide more opportunities for yourself, you're not just banking on this one or this one. You've got a whole gamut of opportunities and options.
And would you say, Tracy, if you kind of zoomed out and looked at maybe your last couple of years, I guess specifically since COVID, do you have like a ratio of maybe direct booking versus bookings you have through your agency?
It's tough because that's fluctuated over the years.
Sure.
I used to, before I was with DPN, because I actually haven't been with DPN as long as you at all. I just started with them in 2023. And so not long ago, because I met Vince at VO Atlanta and we just hit it off and he asked me if I would send him my stuff. And, the rest is history. And I've gotten some great bookings and ongoing campaigns, which was new to me. I was like, oh, well, I like this. And I actually really like it when you renew and then I'm not actually recording anything. You're just going to renew it and use it again. Love that.
Yes.
But before that, I was in charge of getting more jobs that were less paying because I didn't have the opportunities that you get when you're with a top tier agency like DPN. So I've actually started working less hours because I'm getting those better bookings, but I could always ramp it back up. I do have a very busy family life. I got sick of hustling so hard. And I had built it to the point where I'm at the point now where I don't have to hustle quite so hard because I have prospected and marketed for years. And now I'm just continuing here and there and building on that. So I hope that's encouraging to other people that you don't have to constantly hustle. If you just do a little at a time, that builds. It's habit stacking, whatever stacking, it's client stacking. You're just marketing stacking.
Like you said, it's able to be integrated into their life. So where they're like, okay, on Mondays at this time, like this is my time where I do my marketing or whatever the case may be. But like you even mentioned, Tracy, how great that you've been in motion and kind of having that compounding interest over the years. Because like you said, if the campaign decides not to renew, you're not like, where's my income going to come from? You're like, okay, cool. That faucet's already turned on over there. Like, I'm good. I'm stable, which is, I think, one of the most difficult parts of our industry is the ebbs and flows.
Yes, because they're going to happen. I don't care how good somebody is. People will just say, we no longer want a female voice. We want a male voice. Or now your voice is getting a little old and now we want like a 20-year-old. And we can't change who we are. So bye-bye. There goes that client.
Yes, absolutely. And I think in what you're talking about too, Tracy, with people kind of getting into the mindset of direct marketing. When you've done a lot of teaching at conferences like VO Atlanta, which is so cool. I mean, talk about a better conference that you're then invited to be speaking at. It's amazing. When you are doing your different presentations, teaching a variety of people, what's one of the biggest roadblocks you see people kind of face as they're trying to adapt direct marketing into part of their schedule, structure, part of their business?
I would say that not having a plan or not integrating it into their life, we can all do something hard for a short amount of time. Let's talk about the gym. If you don't create a sustainable habit and a routine, you're not going to continue to go to the gym. And that's why every January they're swamped. And then by mid-February, it's a ghost town, or it's back to the same people that are always there. I mean, there's a reason why people create habits and routines. I don't know if you go to the gym, but I like to go to the gym. I work out at home in the morning, but then at night I just chill and sit on the bike and pedal for half an hour while I read my book or watch whatever's on the screen. And that's actually really relaxing for me. But I always go at the same time and I see the same people because when you create a routine, you don't even think about it anymore. So if people would simply create a routine in which direct marketing is what they do, like brushing your teeth, eating your breakfast, putting on your shoes, or making your bed, I would never, ever start my day without brushing my teeth and making my bed. Those are the first things I do when I get up.
I really appreciate that, Tracy, because I'm in a VO mastermind right now, and direct marketing has been this sticking point. A lot of people seem very overwhelmed by it, and I think it's exactly what you're talking about. They'll almost go through these spurts of like, okay, direct marketing, I'm going all in, and I'm going to do like 5 hours today, and they're burnt out, and they won't do it again for like 5 weeks. And then it's like constantly that push-pull of like, it's not in their normal habits, their normal routine, so they're always kind of fighting, like they're out of the flow of it. It never feels
Yes.
natural.
Right. Because we audition on a pretty daily basis, I would say. I'd say most working talent are auditioning every single day. So again, to your point, it becomes very natural. You become better at it because you're actually working on that skill every single day. Same with direct marketing. It will be better if you do a little at a time. So that's why I tell people just do 5 daily reach outs to people on LinkedIn. I have a whole system and it's not that hard. So first is optimize your profile. Don't hang your shingle out and say, I'm open for business if you don't have something to show people once they get there. And look at LinkedIn more as a website than a social media platform. Think about it. Your website has your picture, branding, it has your contact information, it has your demos, it has your testimonials, it has an about section. LinkedIn has all of that. It's not like Instagram. Instagram is you get this much information and one link, and that's it. So instead, LinkedIn gives you 3 links that you can put in your contact information. It gives you an action button where you can take somebody to your website if you really want. Although really the goal is to keep them on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and they have all the information they need.
Yes, your featured section is where you would have your demos. Your about section is the same. You have your contact information, and then your recommendations on your LinkedIn profile are your testimonials. And those actually go to real people's accounts. So we know that you didn't make them up and just put them on your website, because you could totally have done that. That's why LinkedIn to me is stronger than a website, because you give people social proof that you are who you say you are and you are awesome to work with. So that's step one, is optimizing your profile. Step two is targeting who you need to work with. So targeting your dream client. So if you want to work more in commercials, you could look up video producers. And then when you go to the advanced search features, you can pare down to, let's say, your city. And then you already have common ground to talk about. Because if someone's a voice talent in Louisville, there's probably not that many production companies in the area. If it's LA or New York or Chicago, a lot more options, but it's the same point. People feel comfortable with you when you're like, oh, you're from my city. And then the third thing is to, once they connect with you, send them a direct message to express your interest, but not sell them. You don't want to be spammy about it. So you're communicating with them in a non-spammy way. You're building common ground. You're saying, thank you for connecting with me, showing gratitude. And you're letting them know you would love to be a resource for them, or, let's collaborate. I'm here if you need anything. Feel free to check out some work examples on my LinkedIn profile. You're not pushy. You get the point across, but you're not pushy. That feels so much better than a sales pitch. And yes, you can have templates, but you must personalize them. If I see dear sir or dear madam, I'm just out of here.
Game over. Yeah, because you're like, I know you're copy and pasting this when you're doing your 5 hour direct marketing right now rather than the 5 reach outs. And I think that's so smart, Tracy. Before we got on, I mentioned one of the many things my partner does is he owns a boutique production company. It's been around for 12 or 13 years at this point. He will get a variety of people reaching out to him, mainly voiceover artists. He can tell instantly when he opens the email if it was copy and pasted or if they took the time to, like you said, personalize it to him. It's like those other ones get deleted. And then the other ones, he'll be like, oh, wow, they actually took the time to go on my website. And like this, it was an older woman and she wrote the sweetest email. And like you said, it was to the point. It was had so much gratitude, not spammy at all. And then she had like one little comment about a project they did that was on the website. And he's like, that made him feel so nice that she like took the time to even watch the 30-second commercial and say something. And he still talks about her still because so many of them, there's no personal element.
Yes, that's huge. And that is one of the things I tell people is go on their profile, go on their website, find that one thing that you can just mention so they know you actually read it. Some people will say, I have a cat, so you could mention that.
Totally.
Or keep it businesslike and say, I loved the spot for, I don't know, Clorox on your demo reel. That was really funny and a great advertisement.
Totally.
In general. Yeah.
Something just to be like, I'm paying attention. I'm not just like trying to spam you like I am, everybody else. I'm really like being conscious of like who it is I'm reaching out to and why I'm reaching out to you. And I think it's so cool, Tracy, that we have a different background also of now I live in a smaller town, but I lived in LA for a long time. And that's kind of what kickstarted my career. And back in the day, to me, it was very like LA or New York, like go big or go home. Like you have to, I was also acting at the time. So it was very like go to one of these big cities to like do the dang thing. And now I feel like it's so different where you can actually really get started and sustain a career in a much smaller market. But you coming always from a regional market, how has that been for you building your team of agents and reps? Because I know you have a couple across the country. What was that process like? Not having that, I guess, just like access to them in the same way that if someone's living in LA or New York had.
Well, to me, I don't know any different other than I'm emailing people. So when I first got my demo, I emailed it out. I was very proud of it. But looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was such a first demo. I never want to hear it ever again. But at the time, I was very proud of it. And I did send out and I did get some agents. So I got a Kansas City agent. I got a Texas agent. I had a Chicago agent that never really went anywhere. I just sort of built up agencies. And I knew to start regional because I'm like, I know I'm not ready for LA or New York. So I'll just stay away from them because if they're going to go outside of their metro area, you better be really good. And I knew that from my research. And that's why I have a resource page on my website, tracylindley.com/resources, because that way people can just jump on there and look at all of the things places that I like to learn.
I'll put it in the show notes. It's so nice of you to do that too, because you're so organized and there's so much great stuff. I looked at it and I'm like, Tracy is just offering up on a silver platter all this great stuff for us
Well,
VO artists.
it started selfishly because I just got so many emails that were like, "I wanna get into voiceover. How do I do it?" And I was like, "I cannot answer all these emails." And I was sending this PDF to them that I had to keep updating, and I was like, "This is silly. I could be getting website hits." So I built a page, and I send them there, and I'm like, "Bye. If you get through it, come back to me because I don't have time." I wanna help everybody, but I simply cannot. My family needs me,
Absolutely.
and they're my priority.
For sure.
So that's what I did, and I would suggest that others do that as well because unless you live in that city, they're probably not gonna look at you if you're going after a large market. If you're brand new or even under 5 years,
Yeah.
that's the trend that I have seen, unless some people get in because they have a manager that will introduce them to the agency. Do you have a manager as
That's
well?
how I met DPN. I don't have a manager anymore, and it was for acting, writing, and so he was helping me build up my team, like my commercial agent, my theatrical agent, and he had some people at DPN. So it was very serendipitous and very, very lucky.
That's awesome because
Yeah.
I absolutely love everybody out there. So you better make it to the holiday party this year.
That's
It
what
is so
I
fun.
need to, Tracy, because I haven't been since like 2019, I think. There was that hospitality strike where they had to keep moving the location because of that strike in LA. So we
Yes.
were geared up to go, and then I was like, oh no, it's canceled.
I was gonna go that year too. We would have met 2 years
I
ago.
know. Thank God I came to Kansas City. That was the funniest thing too, Tracy. I don't even know exactly how I found your Instagram. And then I saw Kansas City area and I was like, we're going to be in Kansas City. So it was such a great connecting point. But I mean, to your point too, Tracy, like that's how I got signed by DPN. And I had no voiceover experience when I started. And like, talk about competitive. Like, it's an extremely competitive agency. And thank God we used to go into the booths. I could have never done what you did and done it on my own. I can't even imagine that being so in my head and having to like make all those executive decisions of like, what take sounds better. And one of
Yeah.
the booth directors, I was probably at DPN for like 2 months and I was hip pocketed. They're like, we'll test it for 6 months and see. Cause Vince was like, it's cool quality of your voice that like you're green. Like you don't have any mic technique. Like you have acting experience, which is kind of the only thing carrying you through. But like to be where you need to be, like, let's see how it goes. And one of the booth directors, when I was like done reading for the day, and it was so bad, I was like, something is not clicking. She closed the door and she's like, I think you have a lot of potential, but there's like certain things we need to like iron out. Otherwise, you're not going to last here. And she's like, it would just be so sad if you didn't have like proper script analysis or some of these things that are needed for you to be competitive here. And she's so lovely. She still works there in the accounting department, Kim, and she like picked out all the scripts from the bucket and was like, gave me probably a 10-minute boot camp of like, here's what you're going to start doing in the lobby. Here's how we're going to start looking at these scripts. And I booked my first job a month later.
Wow. No one does that. She is so
No,
nice. Even in her emails where she's like, "This check is coming," and we've emailed back and forth, and she's the sweetest. If she hadn't have done that, where would you be?
Tracy, I'm getting chills thinking about it. And I've told Vince this. I was like, he had a lot of belief in me and it was good timing because he was just going from an assistant to junior agent. So that was part of it was he had flexibility to hip pocket and to do stuff like that. Cause I think if he didn't, Trish and all of them would have been like, hell no, she is not ready yet. Yeah. So I was like, thank God Vince, his position changed right at that time. And thank God for Kim because I was so lost. I was so, so, so lost. And then she gave me things to focus on. So I actually knew what I needed to work on. And then I saw her all the time. So it's like she kind of knows then how to direct and guide you. So to me, I'm like, I had this like boot camp essentially, where it's almost like every time we went into audition, it was almost like we were kind of getting like a session experience. Like you're kind of learning like you're on the job, but it's just an audition.
And she essentially was coaching you. I mean, most of us have to pay for coaching. So you got it for free. And that's what holds a lot of newer talent back is they don't have that kind of money. $200 an hour is pretty normal.
Yeah. Well, I think too, what's even funny to me when I look at some voiceover coaching or classes, everyone at some point needs a demo. So I've seen it sometimes looped in where it's like class, and then at the end of it, you'll get a demo, and it could be $3,000. And so a lot of people, it's like, whew, like I have to really think about or budget to see if that'll work. I was very, very lucky to surpass a lot of steps that I think I would have if it didn't work out at DPN and I was like, I still really want to do this. I would have had to figure all of that out. And luckily I didn't because of one kind soul, Kim, who
Yeah.
saved me, honestly. But to your point, like I tell people the exact same thing. Everyone sometimes wants to go to the top. And I'm like, it's so competitive. Like, make sure you're ready to, because you even know, like, the way things are now, I feel like you're lucky if you get a script a day before your session. Like, it's such a fast paced industry and has only gotten faster since COVID. It takes that endurance. Like, you had all of that professional experience working regionally that you then brought to DPN. So you were ready.
Yeah. And I think that is wise to start and work your way up incrementally. I don't believe in like being discovered or anything like that. I mean, it does happen to some, but for the most of us, it does not. And it does take a lot of work and a lot of passion and practicing and learning. I did so much behind the scenes that others wouldn't have even seen it that I had done this because I was in kind of a workout group where we would read scripts with each other and it was free, but then it was peer led and peer reviewed as far as what they thought of your read. So that was helpful. All kinds of different ways. You can try to save money doing things, but there is an investment. And so you better be ready to do that. I mean, most of us don't have your story, and it does depend on where you live.
No, one of my really good friends, Olivia, she's like, it kind of is an outlier story. And I'm like, yeah, because one of the first questions is, how'd you get started? And I'm like, my path was like so unique. If you were to ask me, like, how should you get started? I'm going to give you such a different answer that my story was bizarre, super bizarre. And like you said, no VO person has the same story.
No.
Everybody is completely unique of their trajectory.
And there's no should do this. It's you could do this or you could do this. And many of them work fine.
Totally. It's so subjective on what works best for everybody. And I like how I feel like there is some flexibility where if one thing doesn't work for you, there's probably an option in this industry that does. And if you're cool talking about it, Tracy, I would love to talk about, I feel like one of the biggest shifts we've had has been union versus non-union work, and specifically FICOR.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me at all.
Okay. No, and I appreciate it because again, like I said, I feel like it could be a weird trigger for some people, and I'm not exactly sure why that is because it's given to us as an option for a reason. And so I was talking to a casting director recently, and she had said in 2019, there was about 80% union and 20% non-union. And she just did the same thing looking at all the jobs that she cast for 2024. And it was 81% non-union and 19% union. So that's, I mean, in 5 or 6 years, a massive, massive shift of the type of opportunities that are coming through. And so in your experience working regionally now with national agents, becoming SAG and then choosing to go FICOR, what was that decision like for you?
So, for those who aren't that familiar with the process, you cannot qualify to be in SAG-AFTRA if you don't book a SAG-AFTRA job first, which seems very hard and roundabout, but you can be Taft-Hartley'd in, meaning they sign this form and they'll let you do the job even though you're not SAG-AFTRA. So you can come in as a non-union, book the job, and then you're eligible to either join or you don't have to join. But if you book 3 jobs, I believe you're a must join at that point. And I don't know if there's a time frame which you must book them in. So I'm not an expert with SAG-AFTRA or anything, but as soon as I got into DPN, I booked a SAG-AFTRA industrial. That's a non-broadcast job. It's either internal or it can be on a website or something like that. So I booked that for a major auto company. And because of that job, I was eligible to join SAG-AFTRA. And so I immediately got in. And then I immediately became FICOR because I need to be able to legally work union and non-union. But in my own work, even before I got to DPN in 2023, I've already got a stable of clients and they need me and they need me to do it through non-union because they're not going to go through a paymaster and those extra things. A lot of them can't. They're too small of a company or they're a large corporation, but they only work with non-union talent. Those are just a couple of scenarios. So I decided to, yes, join SAG-AFTRA, but then what you do is you contact them in writing and say, I would like to be a dues-paying, non-voting member. And then you're a FICOR member. And they make you mail back the card like you're gonna flash it around. I don't know. And oh, yes, I still pay dues. I pay hundreds of dollars in dues because when I book those SAG-AFTRA jobs, I still have to pay my dues. But I don't use the medical insurance because I use my husband's. So I don't need the benefits, but they are there if anything were to change. My husband could decide he wanted to quit his job and start a business, and then we could still get those benefits.
Absolutely.
And I'm also on the board and the education director for NAVA, the
Yes.
National Association of Voice Actors. And NAVA offers health insurance as well
Which is
because
amazing. Yeah,
it is amazing because
I
not
know.
everybody's going to qualify for that SAG-AFTRA. And maybe somebody's completely non-union. They don't have the opportunity to become SAG-AFTRA. And let's say they're single and they need some form of health insurance. So NAVA provides that opportunity.
Which is amazing because you even know too, Tracy, like even let's say you have a great booking year, because some of the non-union buyouts are delicious. Like you look at them and you're like, that's a significant amount of money for that buyout or whatever it is. So you might have a great year where you booked a ton of non-union and actually made some really decent money, but didn't qualify for your SAG health insurance. And it's like you're still a professional that needs to take care of themselves. So I think that's amazing that Nava has that. And I really appreciate you sharing all that, Tracy, because I think where people get confused is there's not a lot of information available about FICOR. And so I
It's
think
kind of kept hush hush for some reason.
it's kept very, very hush hush. And that's, I think, the hardest part is like there's such a lack of information. And then because it can be a trigger point for some people even talking about it, it's like people are even afraid to bring it up. And I was talking to my husband about it, and that's what he said. He's like, so wait a second, you're telling me you can work then union and non union, you can still qualify for health insurance, you can still qualify for your pension, you still pay your dues, you just can't vote and don't have, I'm like, that's what I think it is. And he's like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. And I'm like, I know this is exactly the conversation. And I am still in SAG-AFTRA, but it's confusing. Like him and I were trying to piece this information together ourselves. But a lot of times when you bring it up, people are like, no, don't even like speak the words. And I'm like, okay, but isn't like we should always know what our options are and what is entailed in that. So I appreciate you even talking about it because people would ask me, and I'm like, I think this is what the differences are of being in the union and then FICOR. And yeah, when my husband's very strategic, and he's like, for strategy wise, he's like, I don't understand what so many people are worried about. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it's a ego thing or a fear, because again, it is so hush hush. So I just appreciate you being so open and sharing. Because yeah, he was like, strategy wise, it seems like legally you could do everything and still get, for us, he's on my health insurance, so for him he's like, and still get your health insurance and take care of yourself.
And I will say too that for anybody who is confused about the process, because let's face it, it is confusing.
Very confusing.
Tim Friedlander, the president of NAVA, he is so kind to offer his time for people that want to have some more questions answered about SAG-AFTRA. They want to talk about going FICOR, or someone like you who is strictly SAG-AFTRA and maybe you have a direct marketing client that is non-union and you would like to convert them. As long as the rate fits within the SAG-AFTRA rates, you can convert them. And Tim actually teaches classes all the time about converting non-union to union work. The client has to be on board with it, but apparently it's not that difficult to do, just, setting up the paymaster and that kind of thing. Tim is a great resource for that. I believe there are some resources on the navavoices.org webpage as well. So there's somebody that you can reach out to.
Again, your resource page, we'll put Tim and Nava and everything in the show notes. So helpful because, like, especially now in the world where, similarly to you living in a smaller town now, most people, I do not meet many voiceover artists. When my husband and I are out to dinner talking to people, we're in LA, everyone you meet is probably doing something in the entertainment industry. So there's so much resource sharing. And so I love that there's places like Nava, helpful individuals like yourself just providing that, because yeah, we don't need to do it alone. Even though we're all alone in our little booths in our houses, we have so much opportunity and community. And starting in 2014, Tracy, the way that I started doing it in 2020, doing it from home, self-directing yourself for auditions, having all the tech set up, what were some of the changes you've seen in the industry in the 11 years that you've been working professionally?
AI, of course, has infiltrated the industry somewhat recently. Nava is lobbying going to DC talking with people who actually have the power to change those laws. And we've been successful in a couple of major areas. I would say that AI has changed the trajectory of business as far as voiceover. It's also changed the way that I approach social media now. I try to post more videos where I'm literally holding my phone and talking like this and making a video and posting it on LinkedIn and I also let it be messy. And sometimes my edits aren't great. If I go off on a tangent and I need to cut it out, sometimes it's a little jumpy and I don't worry about it because in a world where people are beginning to make AI videos like straight up voiceover and actors are AI, it's best to let your messy self shine. So that's why I love the podcast you are producing about just embracing the messiness, embracing the imperfection, because AI characters are completely perfect. Their skin has no pores. They're perfectly free from extra fat or no wrinkles. They never smear their eye makeup.
That's the best. Did it today, putting my mascara on, all done. And I was like, dang. It's like, darn it.
It's either that or like there's a stray lipstick line or
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely.
So be your messy self and get yourself out on camera because when you make a video where people see the real you, they know that AI didn't create it. So I would say that the infiltration of AI has actually made me think more about my branding and about how I'm portraying myself to the world. I've always been a bit of a messy brand anyway. I just let it all hang out. Some of the stuff I post on my Instagram stories, that can be the messiest.
Which is why I think people like it though, because they feel like like even me, we technically, besides emailing, have never met, but I'm like, I already feel like I know Tracy because of.
That is great. That's a big compliment to me because that means I am doing the marketing that I want to do the way I want to do it. I want to be authentic. I want to be imperfect because I've never been the kind of person who feels like she's perfect at anything. This job has been the first thing that I feel like I'm actually really good at.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I mean, I was a very mediocre soccer player in high school. I never really feel like I fit in anywhere. So the voiceover industry embraces people from every background and it's worldwide. Everybody comes from a different place. We try to be as inclusive as possible. And I love being part of this community for that reason.
In the VO mastermind that I'm in right now, they were talking, we all kind of shared that sentiment. And some of us are coming from other sides of the entertainment industry. And the casting director, who she's been in the industry for a long time, she's like, isn't it so interesting how, like, in VO, she's like, everyone is so helpful, so kind, like, wanting to share resources, wanting to be a part of a community. And that I've experienced it not as much in other areas of the entertainment industry. And I'm like, yeah, in the 10 years I've been doing it, I really have not had a bad experience. It's been really lovely because so many of the people are so lovely that I've gotten a chance to work with and be around.
And when someone's not lovely, we all kind of end up pushing them out or they leave because they know we're not going to take that BS anymore.
Honestly, no, and that's, I think, one of the coolest things. One of the hardest parts for me when COVID happened went from, I had this like huge family right at DPN. And then all of a sudden I'm in my house by myself, still connecting to people, which is amazing. But I've learned to love how many touch points there are online. I think being so far away from home, I lived in LA for over a decade and now living in multiple different states over the last 5 years, I'm like, oh, I feel just as connected to my community and community that like we would have maybe never met if we didn't have so many touch points online, even though we're at the same agency.
I feel the same. I feel like I have a friend in basically every big city. Or if I go to Portugal, I know somebody there, or Italy. It is the weirdest thing, but I know exactly what you mean. And it helps the world feel smaller and less lonely when you have that network.
Absolutely. And I'm so curious, Tracy, like if you go back to 11 years ago and look at the trajectory, like your entire career, is there something you wish you knew before you started and was like building the booth, taking this on professionally? Is there something looking back on your journey, you're like, that would have been nice to know before I started?
Oh, I can't think of any regrets. The way that I've built my business is exactly the way that I would have looking back. So future me looks back and approves of what past me did.
Love that.
But I will say I would have let go of more of the guilt of I'm not spending enough time working because I'm hanging out with my kids. But I look at them now. They are 10, 12, well, almost 12, 14, and 16. And they are amazing kids. They are full on working voice actors. All of them book regularly through DPN.
Amazing. Oh my gosh.
Well, and they all have my clients too. So I've got multiple clients and income streams for them. Their bank accounts look phenomenal because
Yeah.
they worked for them. And I don't charge any money for momaging
Yeah.
or engineering or all the other hats I wear. All that I'm trying to say is that if there's any parents listening right now or watching, let go of the guilt and grow your business at the speed that you need to. I chose not to put my kids in daycare. I chose to have somebody come to the house Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I think it was for like 3 or 4 hours. And so what I learned was efficiency and productivity and packing in a lot of work in that short amount of time. And so, I really think it was just like 9 to noon in the morning, honestly, now that I'm looking at it.
And you're like, I got this time to like get it
Yes.
done. Yeah.
Yes. And it really makes you work a lot harder than if you have an 8-hour day stretching out. So I wouldn't have changed anything about my marketing because focusing on marketing is what brought me to the success that I'm in now.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I wouldn't have changed a lot except for I would feel less guilty about spending more time with my kids and less like, oh, so and so is so lucky because they don't have kids and they can work on their business all the time. But now I'm cashing in those mom paychecks. I'm seeing my investments come to fruition. I have independent, hardworking, respectful children. They're not always respectful. They can be very disrespectful to me, but
Yeah.
outside the home, everyone's like, oh, and start going on about my child. I have a 16-year-old who is very independent, got his license 3 months ago, driving everywhere, going to golf tournaments all across the area, just quit one job and started another because he gets $2 more an hour. And he recognized that as an opportunity. He's been on solo flights. He's headed towards aviation. I'm so proud of him. And then my 14-year-old, she's volunteering at a horse therapy ranch. She reads all the time. Everybody gets straight A's. I'm obsessed with my kids. I love them. I'm so proud of them. And it's because I invested in them. I invested in them and my business, and that they grew together
I'm
incrementally.
getting chills as you're talking, Tracy. No, seriously, 'cause I'm not a mom yet. And my partner and I, both of us being entrepreneurs or having our own businesses, like nothing is sturdy or stable ever. It's always like, what's today going to bring? I have no idea. So I'm just getting chills as you're talking because it's like when you look back on all of this, like one, we're only living our life once. And so like your kids being little, like that only is happening once. Your kids even being teenagers, like it's only happening once. And so it's just amazing because you allowed yourself to fully give in to both. Like your business has been amazing. You've actually given them the gift of having their own businesses and being more independent or entrepreneurial. They always say it's like if our kids see us taking risks and doing things, it makes them so much more emboldened to do that themselves. So I feel like you gave them the best gift of witnessing all of that. And then you also got this like time that you'll never be able to get back. Like you'll never look back and be like, I wish I had more time. It's like, no, you did. You built your business and you had the time. It's amazing.
You are just really going to make me cry
Okay.
over here.
We'll both end up crying.
But yeah, I feel like I did make the right decisions. I made the right decisions for me individually. And even though my life did look a little bit messy, and it still does. Like I decided to say yes to our sweet neighbor down the road whose granddaughter is in town. We all went and played tennis and went swimming at her health club that she goes to. And then I had to rush home and take a shower. And before that, I had just found out that, oh, suddenly your leisurely afternoon that you thought you were going to take a shower and have time to get yourself together. Oh, no, now a client needs you. And now you have a session for 12:30 and then you're meeting with Maddie after that and you have to be, camera ready. So hence the bun. But, you have to be flexible. Life isn't going to go how you predict. I thought I had more time. I was going to give myself like an hour and a half, and it turned into a lot less than that. But I squeezed in a session, and boy, was my client very happy that I made time for them. And that's how
Absolutely.
you keep clients is you make it work.
Like you said, I think the key right now, and like I think obviously in voiceover, but I have a lot of friends who even work in corporate, and they said they're like, it's changed. Like we always used to think, oh, corporate's like the safe way. They're like, no, like I could be let go tomorrow. Like it's being flexible and adaptable is like the one thing, no matter what industry you're in, is so needed. And I think especially in our industry, back in the day, it was like there was never a day of session. And now Trish, one of our agents, will be texting me. She's like, how's 1:30 sound? I'm like drenched in sweat on my yoga mat. And I'm like, works great. Like,
Yes.
I'll be there with my tea, sweating in my studio anyways,
But they can't see you. That's the
that's
beauty
the
of it.
best part about not having to go into the
So great.
studio anymore. I'm like, thank God, because I would have not been prepared.
I don't want them seeing this.
Yeah. And I think teaching your kids that too, I mean, what a great skill set that they'll have or a trait that they'll have as they're building their careers, like just to be so adaptable and be flexible, not be afraid when shit is hitting the fan or it's messy. They're like, we're used to it. We know how to operate and thrive in that type of environment.
Right. And I don't always have time to give them notice as well. I've had clients who are like, well, usually they don't ask for same day sessions with children, but it's worked out pretty well. But next day sessions are not unheard of. So then I'm emailing teachers and I'm pulling children out of school, and it can be very crazy. And then my clients want me to do a session, but now I'm running children back and forth to school and engineering their sessions.
I like didn't even think about that. I'm like, duh, they're still in school. Like their actual main job is, yeah, like, oh my gosh, of course. And some sessions, it could be 2 hours, it could be 15 minutes.
I have to give it my best guess. And if they're not back, they're not back. And my school is very, very accommodating. And because they are very good students, they always catch up fine with whatever they missed. But yeah, it's a crazy life, but I wouldn't change it. And I love being able to teach them money management too. What we do with them.
Please tell me, because this is what we all need. And so please give me your tips for before I have kids. I'm so curious.
Okay, so my tip is with every bit of money, not one single dime escapes my attention because I do all the bookkeeping and all the things. And so I tell them, they always ask, first of all, how much money is this going to make before they even do the audition? I'm like, stop. But they do it anyway. So once I get the number of how much they're going to get, so then they get paid. And as soon as it hits the account or the check comes or whatever, I'm like, okay, they already know you get 10% to spend. You give away 10% to a ministry or charity of your choice, but you're going to give away 10% because I want to teach generosity. I don't want to teach them to hold on and be grasping in life. I want them to be open-handed and generous as they grow. And then they put 80% into their savings. But then it doesn't stay there. My husband has started teaching them about investing. It is so cool. We're doing low risk
Yeah,
stuff like
index funds or
dividends.
for dividends, like anything. Yeah, I just love this so much. Oh, your kids, Tracy, are going to be set up so well because my family, I mean, they tried. I feel like they never told me the why behind a retirement account's important or certain this. Like I had stuff, but I was like, I don't know why I'm doing the things I'm doing. And to my parents' credit, one of the best things they did teach me was generosity early on. So I was lucky to have
Good.
that as someone showing me why that's so valuable and important. But like understanding risk and investing and all these things, I found a coach who was amazing and had to spend a lot of money to learn everything that you guys are giving to your children. So I'm like, they have no idea how
They don't.
valuable that, like, seriously, that's huge. I mean, the coach was amazing, and now I have those skill sets to give to my children, but, like, what an amazing gift that you are giving them that will set them up for the rest of their life, and as you know, whenever we're, I feel like, financially stressed, which can happen with income that fluctuates, when you don't have a plan and you don't know what to do, it's so hard to be creative. It's so hard to go into your booth and be like, "Let's have fun, and let's play," and not worry about how much money I could make. Like that's such a suffocating way for a creative to exist.
Yeah. And because of that, if people come to me and say, should I quit my job and go full time into voice acting? I'm like, hold up a sec, because your job is paying for you to continue to learn and grow in your business. You may not be ready. For me, I was a secondary income. My husband was the primary income. And so I was staying at home with the kids, and that was my job. He didn't put it on me. I could have worked and put our kids in daycare, and I didn't want that path. It was just my choice. And so whenever this opportunity came where I could work from home in what I call the cracks of life, I was like, okay, sure. What if I made $1,000 a month? Great. That helps with groceries and toilet paper and toothpaste and all those things, all the essentials. And then pretty soon, it just kept building and building and building. And because I had that freedom to just make a little bit, now I make triple what my husband makes, and I'm the primary. We are such a great team because he handles so much of the bookkeeping, investments, accounting, IRS, blah, blah, blah. I hate that. Just as a creative, I'm just like, I'm running from all of that. And he loves it. He's total left brain.
Oh,
I'm an extreme right brain.
Tracy, we should have got our husbands together too, because I always say one of my husband's love languages is spreadsheets.
That's a swear word.
Yeah.
That's the S
Yeah.
word.
Yeah, precisely.
So funny. Well, I'm glad he enjoys that because then you don't have to do it.
I do not, which is super helpful. And I feel like same thing now because of my past too. I know what questions to ask. I'm like, I know what is necessary for me to know. So I'm not like totally in the dark, but then have at it. Take it from
Enjoy
me.
it.
Take it away.
Yep.
Tracy, this has been so much fun, but I know you have a packed schedule. So there's a couple more rapid fire questions that I ask everybody that I want to leave with. And so you exude light and confidence, Tracy. Like there's this feeling, I can see why so many people, when they work with you, learning LinkedIn or learning direct marketing, leave with like an empowered feeling. You said earlier, if I could just give them that confidence, that would be such a great impact that I could have. And you just exude that. I'm always so curious, like you have so many roles between the business you've built, being a mom, like when you are sometimes like laying your head down at night and, every now and then we get stuck in like those little thought spirals of something that's just like heavy on our mind or something we're kind of like afraid of, it's like unresolved. Is there like a sort of like topic or theme when it's one of those nights you're like, dang it, get out of my head. I want to go to bed. I can't shake it.
I think I'm always worried that people don't know how much I love them and care about them. And that kind of thing worries me. Or if I have said something to offend someone or made a comment, it's usually people in my own immediate family or close circle that I'm thinking about. Sometimes I can be like doing so good in my relationship with my husband, but then I'm not spending as much time with my kids, or vice versa. Or I haven't seen this child but 10 minutes in 24 hours. So I'm always worried about those interpersonal relationships when it comes to my family. So I'd say that that takes up brain space for me. With my business, I don't think I get worried about things because they're doing really well. I've always felt support from my spouse, which I think is a huge blessing. And the fact that he has never once put any pressure on me to even have a business at all. And then he's joyfully just celebrated every win that I have. We'll be married 21 years next month.
Tracy. Oh, I just got chills because my husband and I, we've been married like a year and a half.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. We've been together for
You're younger than me, honey.
Well, we've been together for 7 years. And then, we had a long engagement thanks to COVID. And then I was like, who even needs a wedding? And I realized I'm so glad we did it. But it was very important to my mom that we had a wedding. Anyways, worked out, was one of the best days of my life. Yeah, I think that I'm sure even his support, and it sounds like you guys' support for each other is, just what a beautiful thing. And to not have pressure so you can be creative and take risks and feel expressive and empowered from him. I feel like to have a relationship where you feel like so safe because you have a partner like that you can go and like, again, just try all the shit you want to do and like take those risks. What a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And you keep bringing up your mom. It sounds like you have an amazing relationship. And she sounds like the sweetest woman.
They were just here visiting. It was so cute because my parents are from Chicago. And I was like, I think you guys are really going to love Kansas City. And she, like, after her first day, she's like, you know what? I do really like it here in Kansas City. I'm like, you haven't even seen anything. She's like, I saw enough to know that like this. And
we're nice people.
No, you guys are nice. And it's so charming. Like I was telling my husband, it is such a beautiful, like everything's so charming. And then what a great combination of city meets like more chill. Like you get all the benefits of having it be a city, but it's from living in LA and from living in Miami, there's people are relaxed. It's chill. Like you get a neighborhood vibe and like the benefits of a city.
That sounds like a bumper sticker to me.
Yeah, right. Oh gosh. Sometimes I will. My husband's like, he'll say that to me often. Sounds like a bumper sticker. I'm like, okay.
Well, I brought up your mom because I don't have a relationship with my mom. She just sort of wiped her hands of all three of us. I'm the middle of three children. And she's basically cut ties with everybody because I believe that she has some mental health issues. I mean, who could just turn their back on their kids? So I grew up in a home where I was not loved for who I was. I've always been very joyful and expressive and chatty and outgoing and emotional. And none of that was appreciated or cared for when I was growing up. And so to, what you were talking about regarding feeling safe, that's exactly why I married my husband. Like I knew he was the one because I can totally be myself. And he really appreciates those qualities of who I actually am.
Totally. Well, think about, I keep getting chills as you're talking about this stuff. So this is like the big core things of life, right? Like, especially who you marry. Talk about how much that impacts every single aspect of your life. And to think him again giving that gift of just like total support, appreciation, like you've been able to probably grow and build internally in such amazing ways. And so I always think about that and hearing that story is like how different my life would look if I had a different partner who didn't encourage you to just like be your full self. And how I guarantee you that's a huge part of why your business is as successful as it is because like you have been able to just authentically show up
Yes,
constantly.
100%. I could not agree more. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you are with someone who appreciates the amazing person that you are too, Maddie.
Thanks, Tracy.
You are just full of light. Enjoy
Ah,
yourself.
thank you. That's why I'm like, oh, I could talk to you forever, and I'm so happy. Who knows? We will probably be back in Kansas City, so you and I will have a redo and a do-over. I don't know if you've seen like some of those Bumble commercial spots lately, or like the scripts that we've
I
gotten.
haven't watched.
Oh, have you?
No,
Okay.
I did get the audition.
Anyways, those ones they make me like whenever I even read them, there's like a coach I work with that she casts Bumble. And so sometimes in the workouts, we'll do some of the scripts and like they make me cry because they're so beautiful and emotional. And I'm like thinking about Jake, my partner, and I'm like, so yeah, instant like hit to the gut where I'm like, I'm so lucky to have that as you are. And in the last couple of questions, I know you have the messy bun. I have like 8 pounds of dry shampoo in my hair. Besides that being messy, what do you think's the messiest thing about you?
I'd say our schedule would look very messy to many
I
people.
cannot even
Uh,
imagine, Tracy.
you would not want to live my life. I'm pretty sure no one would. The amount of running around that I do during the school year, even during the summer, it's insane how many places I have to take my kids and do things. Thankfully, my 16-year-old can take himself, but he's so busy that he really can't take anyone else hardly anywhere. So we still have multiple activities we're involved in. So I think that our calendar would probably be the messiest
I feel
thing,
like that's
but
fair to say.
we keep it as organized as we can. And the only way that my husband and I survive and stay sane is we have a shared calendar.
My husband and I don't even have kids. He never checks my calendar, but just for me checking him, I need to be like, what's the day looking like? So I can't, once we have kids, I'll have to come to you and be like, okay, Tracy, excuse me, the shifts of how we manage this.
Color coding.
Color,
Color
yes.
coding.
Pink means voiceover. Blue means
Yeah.
dance. What are you most excited about right now that's coming up for you personally or professionally?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I have an answer for you, Maddie, because I just think every day I don't know what's going to land in my inbox. And that's the most exciting thing about this job is I don't know what's coming down the line. I think the unpredictability of the joyful surprises we get in this industry are one of the reasons I absolutely love it, that I can't necessarily plan a day properly.
If you do, it'll get messed up real quick.
I can be taking a sip of water during a tennis lesson and see an email that the client would like to book me for later today, and now I have to figure it out. I think it's exciting and quite the adventure. Doesn't stress me out. It makes me rise to the occasion.
Absolutely. I feel similarly. Like I was telling my husband, I was like, I feel like I'm built for that. I always like sometimes when there's a little bit more chaos, I'm like, I feel like my nervous system actually operates better when there's a little bit of chaos rather than when I have too much time. I'm like, what am I doing?
I need a little drama in my life. I like my fair share of reality shows.
So do I. And I never thought I would. And all of a sudden, when I was planning our wedding, I'm like, I need like a brain dump. I need something. And that's when I discovered reality TV. And now I'm hooked and I can't stop. So I'm with you.
Don't you watch this and think, can you guys just get along?
I'm always like in an internal therapist. Like in my head, I'm like, oh my God, if she would just apologize or just validate her feelings. I'm always like group therapy in my head where I'm like, can you please? Just like this is
And this person's such a villain because they are obviously insecure and her parents probably acted like she was never good enough and that's why she's overcompensating and she has to be perfect. And
yeah, I'm like, what's gonna happen? That I'm gonna be like, I would do it differently, but I'm so curious to see how it's gonna pan out this way.
yep.
I'm gonna include so many great resources that you mentioned today, Tracy, in the show notes, but where can people come find you and hang out with you after this conversation?
Always come find me on LinkedIn, Tracy Lindley. And then my website is tracylindley.com. And that's it.
What about Instagram?
That's Tracy Lindley VO.
Okay.
Somebody else took the Tracy Lindley, I guess. I was late to that party. I think I joined in maybe 2019 or something like
Okay.
that.
I've seen a lot of you post on those awesome videos on LinkedIn and on Instagram. I was like, you're doing great.
I'm trying to give people snippets of, I learned this today. Maybe it will help you. And that's how I approach it.
No, and there again, even I saw the one recently about having a plan with your notebook, and you're like, "This is my kid's
It's the messy notebook.
exactly. So, Tracy, this was amazing. It's like cloudy here, and I feel like so much better, just like the sunshine of like our conversation will like get me through. So, thank you so much.
I knew I would enjoy our conversation, Maddie, so thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You're the real hero if you've made it this far. Thanks so much for hanging out today, and check out the show notes for any resources or cool info mentioned in today's episode, or places to follow along if you want to hang out some more. I'm rooting for you today and always. Stay messy.